Okay, good morning everybody. We are from group 7 and today we are going to present about reading historic textbooks. But before we start our presentation for the day, let me introduce myself. My name is ZAINAL AQLI. That is going to be your presenter for today. And in today's presentation we will discuss about the definition, the examples, and the characteristic of each historic textbooks, and then the tips and tricks. And then the fourth one, we are going to give you the examples of a question on historic textbooks and how to solve it. And without further ado, let's move on to our first speaker, THANIAEKA, who is going to explain about the definition. Let's start.
Hi guys, my name is THANIAEKA SETIAWATI. I will be your first speaker today. In this opportunity, I will try to explain to you the definition of historical text. But before we get into the material, I have one question for all of you. Do you still remember recount text? Yes, recount text is a text which retells event or experience in the past. The purpose of recount text itself is either to inform or entertain the readers. The historical texts have a similar meaning to it, which means recount text and historical text have a connection. Now, let's get into the definition. Based on Wikipedia, I found that historical text means is original text that contain important historical information about person, place, and event in the past. And our group conclude that definition of historical text is information about place, person, or event in the past. Historical text inform the reader about key event and important people from the past. Historical text give the reader an understanding of what led up to important event in history. Historical textbook are non-fiction history book, autobiographies, biographies, historical research website, diary, social study, history textbook, past newspaper, and encyclopedia.
So everybody, after hearing the definition that has been explained by the first speaker, THANIAEKA, I believe everybody already understood about the definition. And now we are going to move on to our next speaker, STEFANI SIDUPPA, which is going to give you the examples and the characteristic of each historic text.
Hello, I'm Stefani. I'm as the second speaker. History means all events from the past, and historical text itself is one type of recount text. Recount text itself has a meaning. That is one of the texts that tells about stories of the past, such as personal experience, group experience, or all certain events written in English. Recount text consists of 4 types. The first type is personal recount text. The second is imaginative recount text. The third is factual recount text. The fourth is historical recount text. Of the 4 types have different meaning. Personal recount text is a type of recount text that tells the author's personal experience. For example, a vocation experience, school experience, or even an unforgettable experience. Imaginative recount text is a type of recount text that tells the reader's imagination about something calm is written in the past tense. For example, Story of the Kancil. Factual recount text is a type of recount text that discusses something actually happened or fact in the past. For example, Story of Titanic and Romeo and Juliet. Historical recount text is a type of recount text that discusses the history of both the place, object, and historical stories of the person. For example, Borobudur Temple. Characteristic of historical text. The first is Past tense action verbs refers to this word describe what people have done, such as fought, explored, discovered, and invented. The second is adverbial phrases. Refers to these phrases tell where, when, why, and how, such as early in the morning. The third is use time connectivize. Refers to this word help to order events, such as firstly, next, then, and finally. The fourth is has a temporal sequence. Structure of historical text. There is structure that must be followed when writing this type of text. The historical text structure is divided into three parts. The first part is orientation. In this first stage, the reader is asked to provide an introduction in the form of information about who, where, when the event or event acquired in the past. In this section, the author is expected to give the reader the information needed to understand the whole text. The second part is events. In this second stage, the reader can convey or tell the events or event that acquired. Authors are asked to write stories in chronological order, like on the first day, the next day, and on the last day. And the third part is reorientation. In this last stage is the stage of repetition of the introduction in the first stage. The repetition that encapsulates all the events or event told. In the final stage, the reader can write a summary of all the events or events that are told. The author can also write comments or personal impressions of events or events that have acquired. Historical text informs the reader about the key event and important people from the past. Historical text gives the reader an understanding of what led up to the important event in the story. Example of historical text is nonfiction story. In nonfiction history, there are autobiographies, biographies, diaries, and past newspaper. Autobiographies derived from three Greek words meaning self, life, and write. Autobiography is a style of writing that has been around nearly as long as story has been recorded. Like biography, an biography usually tells about the important event in the person's life in chronological order. Important details can include place where the author has lived, important people in the author's life, and life-changing events that the author experiences. When a biography is told in chronological order, the author usually writes about the circumstances of their birth, childhood experience, and educational background. Please describe and discuss the life of a real person. Information is based on the fact. Incident, dialogue, and people are acquired and from a reliable source using first-person accounts when viable. The person's life story is told with respect to other people and events of the time in which they lived. Develop an understanding of the place, times, events, and other people when the person lived. Biographies tells the story in a style and tone that the reader or listener can relate to the person and believe in their humanism. Develops a person as a real and interesting person, not a personal or stereotypical member of a particular group. Diaries, a form of autobiographical writing, regularly keep record of the diary's activities and reflections. Written primarily for the writer's use alone, the diary has a frankness that is unlike writing done for publication. Past newspaper. The characteristic of newspapers are of the most widespread concept of the word. The cultural power of the unknown. We understand, according to previously outlined reasoning, that characteristics can only be understood as they relate to the entirety of the word, to the meaning. Okay, that's all for me. I'm sorry if there is a mistake. Thank you.
Well, everybody, I believe everybody already see the example that has been given by STEFANI about historic text and the characteristic of each historic text. And now we are going to give you tips and tricks. And the tips and tricks will be given by MAULIDI AYSYAH.
Here I am, MAULIDI NANDA, as the third speaker will be discuss a type of question that contain in the TOEFL reading test and along with the tips that you can do it. So, are you still remember about our first test, the diagnostic test? Well, in the previous diagnostic test, you all already know if all the questions have the description. Question 1 until number 10 refer to the following passage. Between all the answer is given on the text. At the previous diagnostic test, did you realize all the forms of reading the question given included in factual and historical text? To go further, first thing we must know the type of each question. Actually, there are about 10 types of question in the TOEFL reading test. But this time, I will discuss some types of question that often appear in the historical text and tips how to do it. The first type is understand the main idea. For this question, you will be shown a sentence of a reading passage. There are 4 options, which 3 incorrect options will contain inaccuracies from the text. The second type is recognize the organization of ideas. The third is answer stated the question. This question type asks you to identify specific information in a short passage or which that include the passage. The fourth type is find unstated details. Question is to verify what information is not true or not included in the passage. The correct answer is the one that is not true. The 5 is the pronoun reference. So this question identify the referential relationship between words. Six types is answer implied detailed question. This question is to comprehend an argument or idea but not stated in the text. The last type is understand the vocabulary in the text. this question to identify the meaning or individual word or phrases. The question is not only asking the meaning of the word, but the meaning as it used in the passage. So that's all the submaterial that I can give to you. So I hope the tips can be useful when you are working on the reading text. Thank you.
Okay, everybody. After hearing the tips and tricks from Maulidi Aisyah on how to answer questions that involve around historic text, now we are going to give you an example of a questions on historic text and how to answer it. And this one will be explained by Zumaro.
Hello there, mate. The fourth material will be the example of historical question and how you can answer it. We're going to solve the questions using scanning and skimming method. My name is Zumaro. I will be your fourth speaker. Let's read the passage, have a look on the questions, then we can answer it later. This is the Titanic. I'm pretty sure that lots of you have already known about this true story. Take your time to read this passage. I will let you to read it for a while now. If it's not enough, you can even pause the video and play it again once you're done with it. How's the story? How much you like it? Have you got the idea? Have you understand it? Hope so, because right now we're going to jump into the question section and we can answer it together. Number 1. What's probably the best answer? I'll show you the story for a couple seconds, then you can use scanning and skimming method. Have a look on the first line. The word unsinkable is quoted. It means it has differing meaning. If you choose option C, then you were right, mate. As you read from the passage, Titanic was the last unsinkable ship, but in fact, it sank too. A lot of people disappointed and sad hearing this fact, and that's make the Titanic the last unsinkable ship and in case to avoid more and more victims. Number 2. I'll let you do it on your own for now. Have you got it? B is the best answer for this question. Number 3. Here, have a pick on the passage. The correct answer for number 3 is D. If you pick a wrong answer, try to read it more slower next time. Number 4. Again, have a quick look at the passage. Option A is the answer for number 4. Have you got it right this time? If not, try to scan the whole passage. Try to conclude the story on your own. The last one, number 5. Try to find a familiar meaning for SOS. I'll help you out. Have a look on the fourth paragraph. Yes, the correct answer is the third option, C. If you have correct answer, you're good to go now. Alright mates, that's how you do it. Hope this lesson will be useful in your future. That's all from me now. Thanks a lot and cheerio.
Okay, everybody. After the explanation that has been given by my friend about the examples, the definitions, the tips and tricks, and the way how to answer questions that often appear in historic textbook or historic text, I can say this. Reading historic text or textbooks require a different approach than the way you read a science or math book. Since reading it is like reading a history. There's a lot of details, and you need to able to identify the details, which sounds like really hard, but it's not. Reading historic text or answering questions that often appear in historic text or historic books, it's easy. Why I say easy? It's easy when you know how to answer it with the tips and the trick. And the tips and the trick itself, we're giving it to you in the explanation in our presentation. For examples, find the unstated details, and then the second one, find the main ideas or understand the main ideas. That is one of the example, the tips and the trick that we are given it to you. So after this, we hope that with this presentation it can help you when you try to read history text or history textbooks and answering questions that is often appear in history text and history textbooks. And I think that's it from us, from group 7. We hope that our presentation is going to help you in the future. And don't forget, please give us a question in the comment section below. Thank you.